My wife's best friend whispered, once the baby comes, she won't have time for you, but I will. And when I told my wife, she said I should be flattered. Her name was Rika, and she had been my wife Nadia's best friend since middle school, and the day we announced the pregnancy, she started acting like the baby was partly hers. She came to our apartment uninvited the morning after we posted the announcement and told Nadia she would be at every doctor's appointment and in the delivery room, and that she had already requested time off for the due date. Nadia thought it was sweet. Then she started with me. The first time was small. Nadia was 5 months along and going to bed early because she was exhausted. Rika stayed late one night helping fold baby clothes, and when Nadia went to sleep, Rika looked at me and said it must be lonely being married to someone who falls asleep at 8:30. I told her Nadia was growing a person, and she was allowed to be tired. Rika shrugged and said some men have needs, and not every wife remembers that. The second time she brought Nadia bath bombs and lotion, and bought me a bottle of cologne. Not a cheap one either. She handed it to me in front of Nadia and said every man deserves to smell good, even if his wife is too tired to notice. Nadia laughed and told me to say thank you. I put the cologne in a drawer and never opened it. The third time, Nadia went to pick up food and left us alone for 20 minutes. Rika patted the couch, and when I sat in the chair across the room, she said I didn't have to be so scared of her. She told me she thought about me sometimes, and that Nadia had no idea how good she had it. She said once the baby comes, Nadia won't have time for me, but she would. She said it looking right at me like she had rehearsed it. I told Nadia everything that night. Every comment, the cologne, the couch. Nadia rubbed her belly and told me I should take it as a compliment. She said Rika had always been dramatic and didn't mean it the way it sounded. She said Rika was just trying to make me feel appreciated because pregnant wives forget to do that. I asked if she was serious, and she said I was making it bigger than it needed to be, and that Rika was throwing the baby shower and buying things for the nursery, and I should be thankful. She told me to stop overthinking and went to sleep. After that conversation, Rika became untouchable. She knew I had told Nadia, and she knew Nadia had done nothing about it, and it made her fearless. She started coming over without texting. She had a key Nadia had given her for emergencies, and she used it whenever she felt like it. I came out of the shower one morning in a towel, and Rika was sitting at our dining table drinking coffee she had made with our machine like she lived there. She looked at me dripping wet and said good morning like this was her house and I was the guest. The baby shower was the breaking point. Rika planned it. She picked the theme and the food and the guest list. When I offered to help, she told me my only job was to stay out of the way and look handsome. Nadia rolled her eyes and laughed. At the actual shower, Rika wore a white dress. Not cream, not off-white, white. She gave a 4-minute speech about her bond with Nadia and how this baby was going to have 2 mothers essentially because she intended to be there for every milestone. She announced the name we had picked before Nadia got the chance. Nadia's face dropped for half a second, but she recovered and said, Rika always jumps the gun. After the speech, Rika found me alone refilling a water pitcher at the counter and stepped close enough I could smell her perfume. She said when all this baby stuff calms down, she wanted to take me to dinner, to thank me for being so patient with her being around all the time. Just the 2 of us. She said Nadia wouldn't mind because Nadia trusts her completely. She said that last part slowly. Nadia's co-worker Alma was standing in the doorway holding an empty tray. She heard everything. She walked straight to Nadia in the living room and repeated it word for word. Nadia came in still holding a paper plate with cake on it. She asked Rika if she just invited her husband to dinner alone. Rika said Alma was misquoting her, that she had offered to take both of us out as a thank you. Nadia looked at me and I shook my head. Nadia asked Rika one more time what she said. The room went quiet. Rika's composure cracked. Just for a second. I saw it, this tiny flash where she got caught off guard and didn't have her next line ready. But she pulled it together fast. She turned to Nadia with these glassy wet eyes that came on so quick it was almost impressive, and said she couldn't believe Nadia was interrogating her at the shower she had spent 3 weeks planning. She turned to Alma and said Alma had never liked her, that this was Alma twisting an innocent comment. Alma didn't move. She was still in the doorway holding that empty tray, and she said, very calm. I repeated exactly what I heard, word for word. You offered to take her husband to dinner, just the 2 of you, and you said Nadia trusts you completely. Rika blinked a few times. Then she turned to me. Her voice got soft. She said, tell her I was joking. I looked right back at her and said, you weren't joking. You've never been joking. The room went completely still. Rika's face changed. The teary expression slid off like a mask she didn't need anymore. She turned to Nadia and her voice got urgent. She said I had been weird with her for months, reading into everything, that she had been holding it in to protect Nadia and the baby. Nadia looked at me, and for one horrible moment I thought she was going to believe it. So I spoke. I kept my voice steady. I said, the cologne, the couch, the comments about you being too tired. I told you all of this months ago, and you told me to be flattered. I watched those words land. I saw the guilt move through her face. She remembered. Rika saw the shift too and went harder. The tears came for real now. She stepped toward Nadia with her hands out and said Nadia was the most important person in her life, that she would never hurt her, that she had been misreading Rika's personality since the day they met. She was pulling out every card, the history, the 15 years, the tears. Nadia didn't say anything for a long time. She looked at Rika crying. She looked at me. She looked at Alma in the doorway, quiet and solid. Then Nadia set the paper plate down on the counter, very carefully, like she was making sure her hands were free for whatever came next. She said quietly, Rika, I need you to leave. Rika laughed. Sharp. You're kicking me out of the shower I planned? Nadia didn't raise her voice. She said, I'm asking you to go home. Rika stood there for a second, looking at Nadia like she was waiting for her to take it back. Like she was waiting for the Nadia who always laughed it off and said Rika was just being Rika, but that Nadia wasn't in the room anymore. Rika grabbed her purse off the chair. She wiped her eyes one more time, straightening herself up like she was putting her armor back on. Then she turned and walked through the living room full of guests without saying a word to any of them. Every conversation in that room died as she passed through. People were holding plates and cups mid-sentence, and they just stopped and watched her go. The front door closed behind her hard enough that everyone heard it, hard enough that a picture frame on the hallway wall rattled. Nobody said anything for a few seconds. Then slowly, quietly, people started talking again, probably trying to piece together why Rika left like that. I didn't care about them. I was looking at Nadia. She was standing at the the counter with both hands flat on the surface, breathing slow and steady, like she was holding herself together with willpower. Alma quietly set the tray down and left. She knew this wasn't her moment anymore. After the guests left, Nadia sat on the couch and didn't speak for a long time. I didn't push. I sat across from her and waited. When she finally spoke, she said she owed me an apology for not listening sooner. That was the first time in months I felt like she actually heard me. But I knew Rika wasn't done. People like Rika don't get embarrassed and walk away quietly. 2 days later, Rika texted Nadia. It was long, like really long. She started by saying she was sorry for making things awkward at the shower and that the last thing she ever wanted was to cause stress during such a special time. Then the tone shifted. She wrote that emotions were running high because pregnancy hormones can make everything feel bigger than it is. She said she was also worried about me, that sometimes when a husband feels insecure about his wife's close friendships, it can come across as controlling even when he doesn't mean it to be. She wrote that she had seen this kind of thing before, where a man slowly pulls his wife away from her support system right before a baby comes, and that she hoped that wasn't what was happening here. She signed off with a heart emoji and always your girl. I read it twice and my jaw got tighter with every line. Nadia finished reading and turned to me and said, "What do you think?" I said, "She's not apologizing. She's setting it up, so if you cut her off, you're the bad guy. She's calling you hormonal. She's calling me controlling. That's not an apology. That's a setup." Nadia nodded slowly. "You're right. She didn't say sorry for what she did. She said sorry for how it landed." Then her voice got smaller. "I just don't know how to end a friendship that's lasted since we were 12. I said, "You don't have to figure that out today, but she doesn't get a key to our apartment anymore." Nadia looked at me, and I think she expected to feel some resistance inside herself, but she didn't. She nodded and said, "Yeah, okay." The next morning, Nadia called a locksmith, and by noon we had new locks. That feeling lasted about 8 hours. That evening, right around 7, I heard the sound of a key sliding into the front door lock. Then nothing. Then the key jiggling. Then more nothing. Then knocking. The knocking came again, harder. I opened the door, and there was Rika standing in the hallway holding a small gift bag with tissue paper sticking out of the top. She had her old key in her other hand, and she was looking at it like it had betrayed her. She looked up and put on a soft little smile and said, "Hey, I just want to drop off something for the nursery. Is Nadia up?" I kept my hand on the door. "She's resting." Rika tilted her head and held up the gift bag like it was proof she meant no harm. "It'll take 2 seconds." I said, "You can leave it at the door." Something shifted behind her eyes. The softness went away, and her jaw set. She said, "She's my best friend. You don't get to keep me away from her." I didn't raise my voice. I just said, "I'm not keeping you from anything. The door is locked. That's Nadia's decision." Rika stared at me for a long time. I could see her brain working, trying to figure out if Nadia was really behind this or if I had done it on my own. She set the gift bag down on the hallway floor, straightened up, and walked away without another word. I closed the door and locked it and stood there for a second with my forehead against the wood, just breathing. After that, Rika's text to Nadia picked up 3, 4, 5 times a day. Nadia didn't respond to most, but Rika started calling mutual friends. According to Rika, I had been making Nadia paranoid. I had changed the locks without her knowing. Nadia was being isolated by a controlling husband. The phone calls started coming in. A friend Nadia hadn't talked to in months asked if she was okay. A text asked if I was handling the situation. A voicemail offered her a safe place to stay. Nadia sat at the dining table after the third call with her head in her hands. That night, I called my friend Ash. I told him everything from the beginning. He said, "You need to start documenting everything right now." He said if Rika was building a story, I needed proof of the real timeline. Screenshots, texts, voicemails, dates, a paper trail. I started that night. The next morning, I asked Nadia to send Rika one clear message. She typed, "I need space right now. I'll reach out when I'm ready. Please respect that." She hit send. Rika read it within minutes, and she didn't reply. Not that hour, not that night. The phone went silent for the first time in days, and somehow that was worse. When Rika was loud, I could see her coming. When she was silent, she was planning. So I asked Nadia if Alma could come for dinner, just to talk. Alma had been there. She heard it. She had no reason to lie for either side. Alma showed up Saturday with a bottle of sparkling cider because she said she figured Nadia couldn't drink, and she wasn't going to sit there with wine in front of a pregnant woman. We sat at the dining table, the 3 of us, and Nadia had made pasta because it was the only thing that didn't make her nauseous anymore. After a while, the conversation found its way to it on its own. Alma set her fork down and looked at Nadia. "I want you to know, I almost didn't say anything at the shower. I stood in that doorway and thought about turning around and walking back to the living room and pretending I didn't hear it." She said she didn't want to be the person who caused drama, and she knew how close they were. But what I heard was not something I could walk away from. It wasn't a gray area. Rika didn't say, "Let me take you both out." She said, "Just the 2 of us." And she said your name when she talked about trust, like she was proud you'd never suspect her. Nadia listened with her hands around her glass of cider. She didn't interrupt. She didn't nod. She just listened, like she was letting every word settle. Alma took a sip of her cider and then said there was something else. Something from before the shower that she hadn't told anyone because she didn't think it was her place. The week before the shower, Rika had come by the office to drop off lunch for Nadia. Nadia remembered this, but what Nadia didn't know was that she had been in a meeting and Rika had to wait. And while she waited, she sat in the break area with Alma and a few coworkers and started talking about me. At first it was normal stuff, baby shower plans, how excited she was, but then Rika told the table I was wasted on someone who doesn't appreciate me. She said Nadia was lucky Rika was around to keep me company, while Nadia was too pregnant to be fun. Alma said it was casual, like a joke, but nobody at the table laughed. One coworker looked at Alma after Rika left and said, "That was weird, right?" Nadia's hands went still on the table. She had been fidgeting with her napkin and rolling the edge of it between her fingers, and her hands just stopped, like the rest of her body caught up with what her brain was processing and everything just froze. "Did anyone else hear her say that?" Alma nodded. At least 2 other people were sitting at the table. Nadia closed her eyes. She took a long, slow breath and let it out. When she opened her eyes, they were wet. She looked down at her plate and said, almost to herself, "She's been saying this to people, about my husband," while smiling at me. Alma helped me clear the plates and gave Nadia a hug at the door. After she left, Nadia sat on the couch with her knees pulled up as far as her belly would let her her, and she cried. Not loud, not dramatic, just tears rolling down her face. She said she felt stupid, that Rika had been her longest friendship, that the idea of someone she'd known since she was 12 looking at her husband and deciding she wanted him didn't fit in her head, so she made it smaller every time I brought it up. I held her face in my hands and told her she wasn't stupid. She had loved her friend. Then I said, she can't be in the delivery room. She can't be at the hospital. Nadia nodded. She said she wanted to tell Rika herself, but after the baby. I didn't love that. I wanted Rika gone now. But I looked at my wife, 8 months pregnant and exhausted, and I said, okay. 3 weeks of quiet passed. The nursery was finished. The hospital bag sat by the front door. Then my phone buzzed with a screenshot from a number I didn't recognize. It was a group chat Rika had made with 6 of Nadia's friends. In it, Rika was telling them I had made a pass at her at the baby shower, that she had rejected me, and I had gotten Nadia to kick her out to cover my tracks. I called Ash. Then I went to Nadia. She read it twice. Her face went from confusion to pure rage. She said, I'm calling every person in this group chat. First friend confirmed she had sent the screenshot anonymously because it didn't sit right. Second friend got quiet. She said, she was really convincing, Nadia. She called me crying. Nadia tightened her grip on the phone. Did you call me? Did you ask me what happened before you decided my husband was lying? The friend had no answer. Nadia hung up. She wanted to call Rika right then. I said no. I said if we came at her angry, she'd record it and twist it. I pulled up the folder I had been building for weeks. Every screenshot by date. Rika's manipulative apology text, the mutual friend texts, the voicemails, Nadia's boundary message. I said, we send the truth to every person in that group chat. Not a rant, just the facts and the receipts. Ash came over and we organized everything. Nadia typed it out. Rika has been making inappropriate advances toward my husband for months. I dismissed them at first because I trusted her. Here is what actually happened, in order, with proof. Then a clean timeline. Each incident, one line, with screenshots in order. She ended with, I asked Rika for space. She responded by creating this group chat to accuse my husband of what she did. I'm sharing this because you deserve the truth, not her version of it. She hit send. 2 minutes of silence. Then her phone buzzed. The first friend wrote, I knew something was off. Thank you for telling us the truth. The second friend who had been convinced by Rika didn't say a word. Then a third friend wrote, Rika told me last month that your husband flirts with her every time she comes over. I'm so sorry I didn't tell you. Then a fourth. She told me at brunch she thought your marriage wouldn't survive the baby. I figured she was just being her. I should have called you. Nadia stared at it. She set the phone down and pressed both hands flat on the table like she needed something solid to hold on to. Rika had been doing this for weeks, sitting with Nadia's friends one by one, dropping seeds, a comment here, a tearful phone call there, building a version where she was the victim and I was the predator, slowly, carefully, so when the moment came she already had half of Nadia's life primed to believe her. Rika's name sat in that group chat and she didn't type a single reply. 2 weeks later, Nadia's water broke. We were at the hospital by midnight. Around 3 in the morning, my phone buzzed with a text from Frank, Nadia's brother, who had come to wait. Bro, Rika is in the lobby. I called Ash. He drove over without asking a single question. Ash met me in the hallway 10 minutes later. Frank was standing near the waiting area looking uncomfortable, and when he saw me, he pointed toward the lobby. She's right there, gift bag and everything, acting like she belongs here. I went to the nurse's station and told the woman behind the desk that there was someone in the lobby not authorized to visit my wife. She typed something and said, your room is now flagged as restricted access. No one gets in without your approval. Then I walked toward the lobby. Rika was sitting in a hard plastic chair near the entrance holding a yellow gift bag with a stuffed giraffe sticking out of the top. She saw me coming and stood up fast, pulling the bag against her chest like it was a shield. She said, I just want to see the baby. I stopped a few feet away and said, you're not on the visitor list. Her eyes filled up so fast it was like she had them ready to go. She said she had been Nadia's best friend for 15 years, that she was supposed to be in that room. I said, you were supposed to be a lot of things. You chose to be something else. The tears stopped. Just like that. Her jaw got tight and her eyes went hard, and the sad act fell away. She stepped closer and dropped her voice low enough that only I could hear and said, you think you won? You turned her against me with your little screenshots and your little timeline. But I know Nadia. She'll forgive me. She always does. And when she's exhausted and overwhelmed and you're useless with a newborn, she's going to call me because you can't give her what I can. I didn't step back. I said, she read what you told her friends. She knows you tried to take her husband and then blamed him for it. You're not coming back from that. Rika grabbed my arm, hard, her fingers digging in. You don't get to erase me. Ash stepped in. Take your hand off him. She let go. Then her voice got loud. Loud enough for the whole lobby to hear. He's keeping me from my best friend while she's giving birth. Someone should call security on him. She looked around for someone to take her side. Nobody moved. An older woman in the next row of chairs lowered her magazine and stared at her. A nurse walked over. Ma'am, you're not on the approved visitor list. I need you to leave or I'll call security. Rika picked up the gift bag, straightened the tissue paper, tucked the giraffe back in. She walked toward the exit slow, the bag swinging at her side, taking her time so anyone watching would see her leave on her own terms. At the door, she stopped and turned around one more time. Tell Nadia I love her. I didn't say anything. The automatic doors slid open behind her and she stepped through into the parking lot lights. Frank watched her go from the waiting area and didn't move until she was past the curb. Ash put a hand on my shoulder. He said, she'll try again. When I got back to the room, Nadia was between contractions, head pressed back against the pillow. She turned her head when I came in. Was that Rika? I nodded. She closed her eyes. When she opened them, she said, good, you handled it. 3 hours later, our son was born. Down at the nurse's station, the yellow gift bag with the giraffe sat where Rika had left it. No one picked it up.